Just a man on a mission, ambition to never fail. Personality electric, he is animated male. Intelligent and wise, calm and often cool. Chris James giving opinions while also speaking the truth. Empathy and compassion. Stephen Michael is here, helping you through your traumas, helping you with your fears. These three forces combine and keep it honest. Turn up the volume, cause this is the application of knowledge.
Welcome to the Application Knowledge Podcast.
To the Animated Sage Podcast.
Welcome to the Application Knowledge Podcast. I am Animated Mel. This is Chris James, and we are the Animated Sage Thoughts. You know what I mean? We back. Y'all thought we was gone? Nah, we back out here, cuz. You know what I mean? We back out. Episode 114. Nah, I mean, homie Steven is out there battling. You know, Majin Buu's done. You know, right now I think he's going against who's after Buu? Hit?
Hit?
Like, who was the villain after the Buu saga? Oh, no, Beerus. We're battling Beerus. We're
going I'm about to say, golly, you jumped.
Yeah, I forgot. We're going to the gods of the gods or whatever. So he's battling Beerus, but he'll be back with us next week, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about all some beautiful stuff when he gets back. But today I want to start off with something light, then we'll get a little bit heavy. You know,
start with straight shops and then pop bottles.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot happening right now in the world, and especially in the. Hold on. Damn it. All right. Well, fuck it. I guess it will be. This is actually a good subject. All right. There's this video where people are like, this is a real man right here. And it's basically like an interview where this guy is, you know, stopping people on the street and he's asking them questions about their particular relationship or whatever. And maybe you've seen this video. Maybe,
I've seen that guy before.
Okay. And I thought this was just a pretty interesting thing, so I retweeted it so, you know, it can be something that we discuss and share your thoughts on it, you know, since we have polarizing thoughts when it comes to relationships and things of that nature. But yeah, let's check this out. Hold on.
How long have you been together?
Like 4.5 years?
Oh, 5 now.
Well, yeah, I guess 5 now.
5 years. How much did you spend on her wedding ring? That's a lot. So, I mean, show it. I mean, go ahead. It's a decent amount. So if you look up like a 3-carat diamond, it's a decent amount I spent on her. But she deserves even more. Sure.
Why didn't you get her more?
Realistically, numbers-wise, what we talking?
35K.
$35,000.
That's insane.
So he spent that much on a wedding ring for you as a gesture. What does he get in return? So I get a partner that's loyal.
Oh, he wants a partner.
I get the most beautiful woman that I've ever, been around. And the most important thing is how she treats me and how she treats my family and how she treats her family. So for me, I have a partner for life, and it's worth every investment there is. How long have you
He used that word investment. That's a good word. Because $35,000 is an investment.
That's definitely an investment on a ring, something that's easily thrown away, or that's just the prices are always pumped up.
Well, diamonds aren't actually very valuable. The value of a diamond is artificially inflated. It's one of the most common
It's like they overprice it because, like back in the day, they pump that and make that the thing that the woman has to aspire to, and then they put all this information out there, like, oh, the diamond is a woman's best friend, and it make people want to get it when actually they have so many diamonds that it's actually the value of it is low. It's typically low.
Yeah.
But people fall into that narrative of, hey, you have to get that diamond. You have people like him spending $35K.
I mean, look, the amount of diamonds that are in the earth show its value as far as like how the earth views it, right? Because there's tons of them. So the earth views it as valuable, just like there's tons of oil, just like there's tons of water. However, because there's so much of it, there's an abundance of it, just like water. You buy a bottle of water for $1. You don't spend $100 for a bottle of water. It's abundant. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's silly. It's silly.
But with this particular video, like, there's a lot of people in the comments. They're like, well, well, some people, they say, my wife, I keep playing that audio. Okay, keep saying, my wife would rather I got her a 1K ring and spent the 35K on something we really needed, like a car or a down payment on the house. Then you have another comment where you have someone says, not many men speak like this. He understands this because he was raised like this and he's seen it with his own eyes. Family is important in how young adults move their younger years or whatever.
No.
And
It
then-
has hold on. No, it has nothing to do with how he was raised. It's because of the woman he has. He sees the value in her because she's valuable, not because of how he was raised. Women, when it outside of their beauty, women don't have inherent value. Like, it's not like a woman. When we talk about like a wife, like, just because you're a woman doesn't mean you're going to be a good wife.
Right.
A woman's inherent value to men is their beauty, but apparently, and it could be Cap, he could be a simp, who knows? But apparently, this man values her through her works. But every woman's not like that.
I think a lot of women, similar to what you said, they think just because they're a woman that they just automatically deserve this type of, I guess, this
Gesture.
This gesture is, spending that amount of money. And then you have other women who appreciate what this guy did, because there's other comments that says, sadly, this type of men are so rare to find now. And this is a man.
I don't want to call him an idiot because maybe he has it like that. But like, you're going to $35,000 for an engagement ring or a wedding band or whatever is absolutely absurd. If you are a decamillionaire, I could see it because it's a drop in the bucket, no big deal. I don't know. He could be, but I'm going to say for the average, we're going to talk about the average man. No average man should ever spend that much money on a ring. It's stupid.
What do you think the price of a ring should be that someone buys?
I genuinely believe that average man should not be spending more than $10,000 on a ring. Like, that's the top. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to spend $500, I think that's acceptable. And if you want to spend $10,000, that's acceptable. But $15,000, $20,000 on a ring for the average man making $50,000 a year, I think it's absurdly unreasonable. And the fact that the comments are going to come from average people. So these are average women and average people. They're like, yeah, he should. Yeah, that's what's up. That's a real man. No, maybe for him. Maybe he's a multimillionaire.
Do you think if a man spends that amount of money on his wife, that it shows that he appreciates her and that she appreciates him, and this is the way that couples should be?
No.
Because it seems to be reflective of a lot of women who say this, like, man, this is actually not about the money he spent on the ring. It's how he views her and the relationship that makes him. That's a real man right there. Plenty, I'm sure, would love to spend that kind of money, but don't have it. They're still real men. And I don't think that spending that amount of money equates how much you appreciate someone. I think it just more about speaks to the amount of money that you're able to spend or that you have, because there's a lot of love out there where people don't have all these finances, or they don't have access to exorbitant amounts of cash, and their love is more strong and it's more potent than any type of value that you can place on it, based on our financial system. And I think the amount of effort that a woman puts into a relationship, it shouldn't necessarily be reflective of how much money that a man has. Because if you love someone, you see that this person is responsible, that they want to raise a family, that there's someone that you can follow, and there's someone who's consistently shown you that they're all about your family and doing things that are beneficial to your family. I don't think that a price should be like, okay, in order for me to behave in this type of way, or to have these feministic features or these mannerisms, that I have to have a man to, have this extreme amount of money. Because a lot of women, they say they want a man and a real man, and that they're looking for a husband. And since I'm back on the dating market, I'll see a lot of like profiles on dating websites where people talk about, I want a man, and you need to be 6 figures. Like they'll literally say it in their profile, you need to be 6 figures, you need to be this and that. I'm just like, bro, what are you doing to be a woman even before you're in this position to get married? Because a lot of times people think that once they find that person, then that's when they have to turn on that wife gene, or that gene that says I'm wife material, when you should already have that personality and those actions. Those things should happen way before any type of marriage situation or before you find a man, because you can't say I'm a wife, but then you have these non-wife attributes that are pushing away these men that you want to, that you're trying to lure in. So it's kind of like, it's like a backwards thing. And then when I'm speaking to a lot of women, they say they'll need to find someone to submit to. Like they have to be worthy enough to submit to. It's just like, your mindset is backwards, and is going to be the reason why you're consistently single. Like you're 30 plus now, and you still have this mindset and not understanding what men truly need, So I think it's backwards to place money on a man, especially when you're in today's society, when the average man isn't making that crazy amount of money to spend $35K on a ring. I just think that's, it's like hustling backwards in a sense, Yeah. But a lot of people rock with it. So,
I mean, yeah, I agree. Money, if you look at Dr. Dre, I'm sure he spent more than $35,000 on his wife's ring. You know what I mean? Like, that means nothing. If you're 30 and you're still single and you want to be married, and that's been the desire of yours, you're failing. Like, I know that's going to make a lot of people upset, but here's the problem. We don't tell women the truth. And also women try to compare themselves to men. So this is like feminism. Feminism says we're equal. So what women will say is, oh, you're 30 and you're not married. I'm a man. It's a completely different ball game for men. Women who want to be married, they probably should be getting married in their 20s. They probably should. There's plenty of women who aren't. And there's a reason why. Like, it's not just because they aren't wives. There's a reason why, and that's fine. But that's not the majority. But the majority of women in their 30s want to be married and have wanted to be married, and they're not married, and they haven't made any adjustments in how they approach how to get married. That's just common sense. Like, If you desire an outcome, you've been trying to get an outcome, let's just say for 10 years, and you just keep banging your head against that same wall, it's like eventually you're going to be like, maybe I should do something different.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's sad because there's a lot of good, look, I love women. I love women.
I'm with you too, man.
I would love to see women happy holistically. But they got to get out their own way. Like, they have to get out of their own way.
Okay, I'm currently back in the dating scene, and I realize I was, I'm not sure, maybe you had this, because, it's been a while since I've been out the desert, you feel me? It's been a while, I ain't in the desert no more, you dig? And after I got out of the desert, I started getting a little thirstier.
That makes sense.
And so
your appetite came back.
So now, throughout the week, I just be sitting there like, hey, man, I need some.
Wow.
I'm sitting here like, hey, man, I need some. And I need it now.
You're a fiend. Yeah.
It's like, what do I want? When do I want it? Now. And I'm just like, hey, man, I'm just like, so. Because at first I was like, man, you know what? I'm good. I don't really have a desire to get it. But now that it's actively in my life now, I find myself daydreaming about
for a swim
and getting it in. I'm just like, yo, what is this? And so I was curious. Have you ever experienced anything like this? It's just, or having a desire, just be like, hey, man, I need to get it in, or is it like a consistent thing where? Because now, like, that thought comes to my head is like, man, all men think about it. And now I'm thinking like, hey man, shit. I don't know. Maybe I'm one of them men who don't think about now because I'm just like, hey, I be looking at girls like, no, her, her. I'm like, bro, I need to get it in, man. So, is this like a normal thing, like, bro? Because I'm it's real, man. It's real. Have you experienced that before?
I mean, a long time ago when I was young, man. Bro, I'm busy now.
He said, I'm busy.
I don't have time. I don't have time to think about vagina that much.
Right.
I just don't have time. So I think in your case, you know, obviously I have been where you've been, and that's when it happened to me as well. Like, so like I went 2 years, maybe 2.5 years without having sex, and then I got it, and then it was like a consistent thing. It's like I wanted to get it, and you know, life was very different back then. But as far as like recently in my mid to late 30s, nah, I didn't really had that. But I mean, I think for young men, yeah, it's pretty common. Because what your experience is, it's almost like you're a virgin again.
Right.
It's basically like that's basically what's happening. So every man eventually, well, not every, golly, but most men eventually go from being a virgin to not being a virgin, and they go through that. So that's a normal cycle. You're just experiencing later in life because you did something unconventional.
Yeah.
Because you should either be in a relationship right now or married right now, where you are getting it regular, and you should never even been in the desert in your late 30s. Like it shouldn't.
Yeah. I don't think I'm gonna go through.
You don't want to go back in there?
I ain't going back to these job phases, man.
I mean, you do that to yourself.
Yeah, you know, because I need some type of, you know, connection or whatever. I need some type of thing, you know.
Yeah, I keep hearing that, but that's fading slowly but surely.
Yeah, but also, I'm like, since I do have a certain level of awareness, I'm not allowing myself to get clouded by, I guess, sex to make that be the reason why I necessarily, I guess, jump into a relationship that I know probably wouldn't be beneficial, or allow that to cloud my judgment about who the person is. Because ultimately, I do want to get, you know, I want to find a woman to have, you know, start a family with. And if she isn't proactively living a healthy lifestyle, or she doesn't necessarily have those attributes that I say I need and I want in order, you know, to have a family and find someone to start a family with, I'm not going to allow those emotions to cloud what I want. Because I found myself at one point, I was just like, oh man, I could. Then I snapped. I was like, hold on, cuz let's realign and let's still assess. Are there underlying issues that you can see can be a problem in the future? Yes. Is there something that you're proactively, is she doing anything proactively that's going to align with the things that I actively want in my life as a wife type figure? I can't necessarily say that, you know, granted there has to be some time, but at this particular moment, there hasn't been many things for me to notice or see to be like, you know what, this is the woman I could see myself spending the rest of my life with. So I'm not allowing myself to get clouded or getting lost in the sauce, because a lot of cats get lost in the sauce, and I like flavor, but hey man, I ain't getting lost in the sauce, you know. You know.
Okay.
But it's like I was drowning. You know what I mean? I was in a desert, but now I'm drowning. And it sort of kind of speaks to what's happening overseas in Dubai, because you mentioned about the flood prior, that there's a flood happening in Dubai. And I did see a few of those videos where a flood was happening, but I wasn't too sure of everything that's happening. And I'm sure you're someone who's invested in that, and you know a lot more details about that. But what do you think about what's happening in Dubai? Do you think that is a natural occurrence? Do you think it's something that is speaking to climate change? Or do you think it's something that's man-made? What are your thoughts about what's happening in Dubai?
Dubai. Shout out to DeWitt. He sent me the video. I'd already seen it, but he had sent me the video, and he was like, maybe y'all could talk about this on the pod. Yeah, so first of all, Dubai is a man-made place.
It's
right?
a man-made state, or city.
Yeah, like country or whatever it is. It's man-made. It's a man-made place.
Okay.
They import sand. They basically build the foundation out of sand. It's funny. It's funny actually. But it's a nice place. It's a nice place. I don't really have anything against it.
Because you always hear good things.
You
like
hear very good
celebrities.
things about Dubai.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't have any issues with it. It seems like they have things figured out to a degree, obviously. But Dubai, they cloud seed. So
Cloud.
they manipulate the weather.
Oh, so
I mean, we in general, we manipulate the weather. Like
Right.
that's not just a Dubai thing. We manipulate the weather. So I think there's ramifications of that. I will say that this is going to be a stretch, and I don't have much of a basis for it. It's just something that I'm kind of concluding. I believe that when we talk about Mother Nature, natural disasters, I think they're all man-made.
You think all natural disasters are man-made?
I think all natural disasters are man-made.
And what made you come to this conclusion?
It's a realization. Okay, when you have a major flood, right? A major flood, the soil gets washed away, the topsoil and different layers of the soil gets washed away. It's devastating to nature. Why? Why would that happen naturally? Why would nature be devastated like that naturally? Unless it had to happen, unless it needed to happen. When you think about forest fires, people talk about the benefit of a fire, how you could literally burn down a forest and in 15 years it's like the fire never happened. So they say, oh, the minerals and stuff. Yeah, that's what's up. But why did the fire have to happen in the first place?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like if the forest was thriving and everything was good, why would a random fire just have to happen? It's like all of the natural disasters happen it's a cause and effect. It's because we're doing something unnatural. And so I think that what happened in Dubai is a result of that. And I think that when we deal with flash flooding and all that stuff, I think it's a result of us manipulating the weather. And just like we try to manipulate our bodies with antibiotics and probiotics, it's like we're trying to play God. We're gonna try to figure out the perfect harmony or balance of your the microbiome and use antibiotics and probiotics to play God. And it's like you don't know what you're doing.
Would you say that sort of to how you spoke about proactive, I believe last week, where like, okay, you take it consistently and then you see some results. But as soon as you stop, using it, it comes back with a vengeance. So if they have been manipulating the weather and it's something that goes against a natural occurrence within the world, if they maybe stop or maybe things caught up and then crazy things it exploded like a buildup or something, would you say it's sort of similar like that? Humans trying to play God and then God actually showing them like what it really is? Is it something like that, you think? Or would you say it's just maybe even the flood that's happened, since it's a natural disaster or quotation natural disaster, it's an unnatural phenomenon that isn't supposed to take place, especially when it comes to nature or around these parts of the world?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think God is like showing them who's boss. I think that nature has a certain set of redundancies. So when things aren't going right, there's a reset that happens. And so the natural disasters are a result of us doing unnatural things or not really harmonizing with nature. So nature resets in order to preserve itself. But I mean, yes, in a sense. Okay, so like when you talk about proactive, why did I have acne in the first place? The skin is the largest detoxification organ. So if you have issues with your skin, you're detoxing. And that could be for many reasons, but we know that you're detoxing. Proactive doesn't like help the body detox.
Right.
All it's doing is restricting the body from being able to detox. And that's why the symptoms go away. So when you stop using it, the body has to overcompensate. And that's what that is. And that's what's happening with Dubai and the natural disasters. Dubai was planning No, maybe it's Saudi Arabia. I don't know that. Like I feel like it was over there somewhere.
It's over because when they mention Dubai or Saudi Arabia, I always feel like they're kind of in the same world a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, for all I know, Dubai is in Saudi Arabia.
Because they're so rich, they have so much wealth that they
them
mention.
Saudis, bro. So they're building this. They're building this city, this mile-long city or whatever. It was supposed to be, I think, 30 miles long.
Yeah, I heard
100 something, and they reduced it. I think they reduced it down. But it's you could maybe perceive that as evil. It kind of feels like their version of a 15-minute city.
Yeah. I think Dubai. I keep pronouncing Dubai. I don't know. Du Bois. But I think they have because I always hear good things. You know, one of my ex-girlfriends, she spoke about how Dubai is very, you know, it's high in finances. The area, it's like it grows money easily, and she wished she would have stayed working out there because, man, she was building up so much bread when she was out in Dubai. Mm-hmm. And to hear it flooded, it was kind of like, man, like one of the more richest and more wealthy places that we hear about celebrities going over there and having weddings over there. And, you know,
like it's not like a forsaken place. It's not like Cali with a whole bunch of homeless people. Mm-hmm. Like, the rich got flooded. Like some of the richest people in the world got to deal with it.
Yeah, that is wild to think. But when you say that it's a natural disaster, what would you say to the people who follow the Bible? You know, when you think about like Noah's Ark, and you know you have all this big old flood. Mm-hmm. That wasn't a man-made thing, right? That would have had something that would happen natural. So with that wouldn't have been man-made. So how do you explain that being a natural occurrence?
Right. So that wasn't a natural occurrence. That was one instance in the history of mankind where the earth got flooded. That's not a regular thing. It's a one-time thing. And it was to cleanse.
So you think that's natural? That's that one time.
No, I wouldn't classify it as a natural disaster. That was literally God being like, I need to step in and I need to clean up this mess. That's like a one-time thing.
Heavy storm.
Yeah, heavy storm, you know. So when have we ever seen anything like that before? Like since then? We don't. You don't see anything on that scale.
So what about like Hurricane Katrina? You think that's man-made? Mm-hmm. And like Hurricane Isaac or Ike or whatever the hell, all those that happen within like either in Houston, Florida, anything that hits the Gulf of Mexico and all these other hurricanes and stuff, all those are man-made?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it doesn't. When you say man-made, you might be thinking, okay, like HARP or something. It don't necessarily have to be HARP. It doesn't have to be a device that alters the weather. We can actually alter the topography of a island or a land mass or whatever and cause storms. It doesn't necessarily have to just be man has a device, they're cloud seeding or something weird like that. It could be that we cut down too many trees. It could be that we, blew up too many mountains. It could be stuff like that.
So just in a response to the activities that humans do to destroy the land, in a sense. Because I've always wondered, aside from like just big bodies of water, about forest fires. I've always was curious about that. Like, how does forest create fire? How does that just happen? And then you just, like in California, you see all these houses and, you just see smoke and all this stuff burning. How does that happen? Like, how does these fires happen? Just naturally. But I'm just like, okay, like, does anyone go into that of, like, you're in a forest and you just magically, there's just a spew of fire? Like, I personally don't understand how it happens, because when I think of a forest, I don't even think of a fire. Because, you have trees, you have animals. Where the hell do the fires come in place? Where do they take part? And typically, humans are, I would say, it's a reaction, because you can make fire if something is like, use flint and stone. That has to be like a chain reaction to something that happened. But when I think of a forest, I never think of fires. But it's always, you always hear about it in California. I'm not even sure if it's something that you hear about overseas. I'm not sure, because I don't really look at the news overseas. But I know typically in Cali, they have all these not rainforest. They have all these forest fires that happen, and it's been happening for years.
Yeah, it's a normal thing.
Like, do men just come in there and just light something on fire and then just and run away? Like, how does this happen? Like, what is your understanding of how these forest fires would typically happen if it's like in California or something like that?
Yeah, so you got direct energy devices, and they could possibly have been using direct energy devices to set fires for years. We're only just now learning about them, but if we're learning about them now, we know they've had them for decades. That's one option, and that's what you're seeing in Maui, and there was another one in Mexico or something like that recently. And then you've got, it's kind of like the I can't think of that word. Deforestation, where you're cutting down, a billion trees to create and manufacture and do all this stuff. You're also okay. When you cut down a tree, you think, okay, no big deal, it's just a tree, but you don't understand. Well, they do understand, they just don't care. But there's an environment, there's an ecosystem that's thriving, and that tree plays a huge role in that. We talked about the soil, the topsoil flowing away.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen when you have trees. So you cut down the trees. Well, that's flood. Let's not talk about that. But there's an ecosystem. So you cut down a tree, and then the tree creates a shadow. That shadow allows for organisms and things to stay moist and healthy and whatever. So now that tree is gone. So now it dries up, right? It starts to dry up. You see a leaf or something that's dried up. You could easily see how it could catch on fire or whatever the case may be. Then in addition to that, they are they're doing something in the sky that's making, like, it's getting hotter.
They're like putting chemtrails.
Yeah, I don't know if that's what's making it hotter or not, but yeah, probably. And so you're drying up the land and you're making the sun hotter. I mean, so I think that it's very easy for fires to start when you have that combination of things. And then, of course, you also have the situations where people are out there starting fires, campfires, whatever, that get out of control. So, I mean, there's, a multitude of different ways that these fires can actually start. But because of the scale of them and, how much of a problem they are, it's really difficult. I don't know. And once again, I don't research forest fires, but I don't know if they can even pinpoint where the fire ever started.
Yeah, that's why I'm always curious. It's like, man, it's like a mystery. It's like Bigfoot in a sense. It's like
it's not a mystery. Like, how does this fire start? Like, it's pretty obvious how the fires are starting.
Like there's a catalyst for it, like a human, or maybe there's an agenda for it, because you have to question everything. Yeah. Like, if you hear about a big old forest fire, it happens, but then the land is being bought by someone like a Bill Gates, and then they buy this big old body of land, or that maybe they're looking to buy a land and it's not being sold. And then mysteriously this big body of land just burns on fire, and they're like, okay, I'll sell it to you now.
Okay, so one thing that they do in the Amazon rainforest, because that's where they cut down a lot of trees, they want to be able to raise cows, but it's illegal. Like, you can't cut down the trees and stuff. So what the farmers, or whatever they do is they'll set fire to certain parts of the forest, and then they can use it to raise cows. So that's literally what you were just saying.
Wow.
Yeah.
Damn. Hey man, anytime there's any like mass destruction, I've always questioned it, similar to you. I mean, I know you've been like the origin. Like, anytime there's anything crazy that's going mainstream, you'd be like, yo, hold on, what's going on? And now I have that thought process, like hold on, what's going on? So you can't really trust a lot of news that's being put out there when it comes to a lot of, just anything that's detrimental. Now, was there anything, like, as far as the Dubai that you want to touch on still that we missed? Okay. Now, currently, there's a few little things that's been happening with the food supplies. And there's a popular restaurant that goes by the name of Chick-Fil-A. And Chick-Fil-A, they have been a restaurant that's been known to have this good old chicken, and obviously they have really good service, so a lot of
healthy food.
Good old healthy fast food for you, But recently, they spoke about they are no longer going to serve antibiotic-free chicken. And they say they're not going to do this because they're not able to keep up with the demand. So what does this, like, when you hear this, what does that send off in your mind? Like, what signals send off? And when I first heard this, I'm just like, okay, Chick-fil-A is no longer going to serve antibiotic free chicken, which basically means now they're going to start making chicken that's full of GMOs. It's going to start making chicken that's full of biotics and getting rid of that original taste or that original recipe that people have grown to know when it comes to Chick-fil-A. Or they might have also have been, I want to say, compromised. They've been compromised in a sense because now they're going to be one of those restaurants that's going to be similar to a McDonald's, a Burger King, where the quality of their food is now going to have poisons and more of these toxins, and it's also going to lean more towards having more processed food or lab grown type of meat that's going to be used for their chicken. Now, I'll never promote fast food restaurants and say that you should eat them. But when I did eat fast food restaurants, it was like Chick-fil-A was like the creme de la creme of fast food restaurants or so. But when I hear that, like they're now going public with it, it makes me question, like, man, how is this going to affect their bottom line? And do you think we're going to start seeing a rise of illnesses or sicknesses when it comes to people who go to Chick-fil-A from now on? You know, because you hear about McDonald's and they have that pink slime and all that stuff, but Chick-fil-A, you never hear about that stuff. So what do you think is going on with Chick-fil-A no longer serving antibiotic-free chicken?
Yeah, so you think okay, a business as big as Chick-fil-A, they understand their product, they understand their customers. As they grow, they take into account the supply and demand and all of those things. So how did they? You have to ask the question: how did they mess up so bad where they grew so big where they can't support their customer base? Right? That doesn't make sense. That's a huge failure. So what's up with the CEO of Chick-fil-A? Well, probably what's happening is the supply is being cut off. They probably did account for that. They had to have. And the supply is being cut off. So you have to ask, well, how? What's happening with the supply? Well, you've got these processing plants, these chicken, cow, meat processing plants that are blowing up, being bought up by Bill Gates, being turned into these, artificial, this GMO, this engineered, these processing plants. They're being changed. So the supply chain is being altered and cut off. And it's going to happen to a lot of the big chain restaurants that try to do healthy, whatever that means. Chipotle had the same issue.
Oh yeah, I remember
not too
that
long ago,
yeah.
Right? So this is when we talk about Bill Gates buying up all the farmland and stuff. This is part of the result of that. Like they put their boot on the necks of farmers and they force them to do things. And it's not that they can't keep up with the supply in a natural capitalistic society. It's that everything is being altered, controlled, and it's just like with the diamonds. When we talked about the diamonds, like diamonds are like one of the most common stones, but because of the supply chain, they make them rare. Same thing with gold. Like gold is, the earth just makes gold. It's not rare. It's not precious metal. They control the flow. So anyway, you have that. And obviously the second part of your question is more like, are people going to get sick? No, they're not. They're already sick. There's not going to be any more sickness. Like there's not going to be like a spike in sickness. People are going to continue to get sick at the same rate that they've been. Let's not pretend like people who eat Chick-fil-A is somehow like healthy. It was never a healthy restaurant. That was just marketing, And it's like, oh, we're closed on Sunday, so it's like Christian, It's like Christian and it's healthy and it's good. And it's like, bro, it's a fast food restaurant.
Right.
Like come on.
And so ultimately, regardless, even though they're going to a probiotic type of food, it's still going to be bad for you regardless. And them doing that is just speaking to, I guess, the market, their supply getting cut off, some type of control. And so slowly, different companies in different markets, they're you see it in real time. But a lot of people, they trust in these people who are in power. And they give these people that are in, when they give these people in power, like, oh man, they must know because they have all these billions. But when ultimately, there's a lot of corruption going on. When you have that type of money, and we speak about this a lot, when you have that type of money, when you're at the top, there's a level of corruption, whether you're Elon, whether you're Jeff Bezos, whether you're Mark Zuckerberg, whoever it is, you are compromised in some form or fashion.
Look, those guys are not the top.
Yeah, they're sort of like the president. How we see it in America.
Basically.
Like, they're just the front.
They're just figureheads.
Yeah.
Like, those guys are the bottom of the top. Like, they're public. Mm-hmm. Like,
Like
they're
nobody,
public.
yeah, you don't want to be seen if you have this type of power.
You don't want nobody to know who you are. Like, that doesn't make any sense at all. Weezy said real G's move in
silence like lasagna.
So, like, you don't know them. You're never going to know them. Mm-hmm. So you already know, like, Warren Buffett and all these guys. You're like, yeah, these guys are just ultra wealthy. Yeah, they are compared to us. Mm-hmm. But you have to think, like, how did Mark Zuckerberg end up in front of the Congress having to defend his company and what he was doing? If he's that wealthy, come on, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, that doesn't even make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, if I'm a Saudi prince and I really run things, who am I? What do I look like going in front of Congress?
Why would I do that? I'm above that. Yeah. That's beneath my time.
You can't get him in a room sweating, looking like an alien, pasty, worried about some,
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes sense. That makes sense, especially if you're a person in power. And I know obviously when you think about food, you have to question a lot of things that you put in your food. And that's why it's always best and it's good to farm and create your own food and grow your own food, because you don't know a lot of stuff that they're putting in your food. And I know you had recently spoke about something about human steaks being a thing. And when I think about human steaks, I think about an actual human being placed on a stake. Maybe it has something to do with racism. Maybe it has to do something with a crime. But when you think about human steaks in another version, it's like actual food. Steak, like human steaks. So what do you know about human steaks? Like, how is that going to align with what we're seeing in day-to-day society?
So there's a company that is developing these, they call them cakes, but they're these big slabs of meat. Mm-hmm. And the way they do it is they take a sample of human flesh, and they have 3 samples, and they're essentially cultivating it. They encourage the cells to grow, and eventually these 3 individual samples come together as this big slab of meat. And then they're going to turn it into steaks for people to eat.
So they grow it?
They grow it in a lab.
Wow.
Yeah. It's the pinnacle of atrocity. Like, this is one of the reasons why I stopped eating meat. When you think about a pig will eat anything. Mm-hmm. But pigs will eat each other. But then they started feeding animals to other animals, like vegetarian animals. So you got chickens eating chicken. You got cows eating cow. You have animals that are vegetarian eating other animals. And it's like, how long have they been doing that to us? And I was listening to this rabbi, this is probably maybe a decade or more ago, talking about how he was like, yeah, we feed you all your children. Like, we feed you your own children. He said this several times. He was very proud of it. And, you look at all the children that go missing And there is a theory, and I think Candace Owens may have gotten into a little bit of trouble for saying this. Don't quote me on that, but I just feel like she maybe said something. But there is a practice that historically, I'll just say that I read that there was a practice that certain religious groups did where they would bloodlet children. And they would poke them full of holes. They would drain their blood the same way that you like drain the blood out of a pig or something, and then they would like bake it into their bread and eat it. And then what do you do with the body? So then you use this amazing chain that you have, let's say McDonald's, and you just toss the bodies in the meat with the rest of the stuff. They're already taking entire animals and grinding them up and turning them into the meat that they serve at McDonald's. They're already doing that. So you think it's not a big deal to add a human in there. It's not a big deal. Also, the FDA, which is a criminal organization, in my opinion, has they have a standard for how much human flesh can be in the meat anyway.
That's Food and Drug Administration.
Right, Food and Drug. So if they have a standard for how much flesh can be in it anyway, that means they know that the flesh is in there. Like, the standard should be 0. There shouldn't be any human flesh in there.
That's crazy.
You know what I'm saying? So, and people justify, people, the workers, their fingers get cut off, stuff like that. No, that's not what's happening. So anyway, it sounds crazy, but it's like they've been doing this already. So they're making humans cannibalize themselves now. And, we saw Book of Eli. So we see what that does. Did you see Book of Eli?
That's with Denzel?
Yeah.
No. That's when he's blind or something like that, right?
How you know all these facts and you ain't seen the movie?
Because I didn't see it all the way through.
You
I think
need
I
to watch.
started it, but I was like, man, what the hell? This dude's just walking.
You need to, Mel, come on.
And then I know if it's Denzel, it's going to be pretty good. But I'll probably
Yeah, you need to watch it. Book of Eli was an amazing. Denzel's just an incredible actor.
Yeah.
Denzel took the spot. It was between Will Smith and Denzel, but Denzel inched out Will Smith. He's my favorite actor. Like, it's not even a question anymore.
Yeah, he's a good actor.
No. He's my favorite actor. He's not a good.
No. I do put him up there as like someone.
Who's your favorite actor?
Favorite actor would be Leonardo DiCaprio, or mainly just Leo, because I like all.
just take Leo. That's fine. That's a good pick.
Yeah, I was trying to think of anyone, but there's movies I enjoy with you. I like Nicolas Cage. I like Clive Owen.
Jeez Christ.
But they don't really make as many.
They're not favorite actor.
Yeah, but I mean, I enjoy their film. I know a lot of people got something about Nicolas Cage.
I
But,
don't mind him.
but I really like. I mean, yeah, I would say Leonardo because I don't ever get disappointed.
That's
with
a good pick.
Any of his movies.
That's a very good pick.
Yeah, but I do like Denzel too. Don't get me wrong.
I'm asking who is your favorite actor?
Yeah, it would be Leonardo.
Okay.
It would be Leonardo.
Yeah, because it's like, you can go. You're gonna watch your favorite actor. This is just how I judge it. Your favorite actor, you're gonna if they're putting out a movie, you're gonna see it. You're gonna enjoy it.
Right.
Will Smith, after a while, started putting out duds. Just like what is.
The Wild Wild West, you remember that? You got the Wild Wild West.
Yeah, but I was okay with the Wild Wild West. Like, it was fine. I enjoyed it.
But the thing about Will Smith is that he always plays like comedic roles. So there is a limit to how
Not always.
majority of his films have been comedic. I would say towards the latter.
Yeah, sure. He's more goofy, but he doesn't always play comedic roles. Some of his greatest roles weren't comedic. I Am Legend, Pursuit of Happiness, this is 7 Pounds or something like that.
Yeah.
No.
I mean, it's range. Don't get me wrong.
I'm not gonna because Will Smith is number 2. So I'm not about to let you.
No,
he's not a Kevin Hart where he's just playing the same
I'm
character.
definitely not. I'm not comparing with Kevin Hart. He definitely has range, but there's a limit to roles that I would like to see Will Smith in. I think he's. Because they're coming out with a Bad Boys 4 now.
His limit is like superhero. I don't think he plays a great superhero.
Like, what about John Hancock?
Yeah, I don't think he plays a great superhero.
Like MIB?
Is that a superhero?
I mean, he's
That's
the
not
Man
a
in Black.
superhero. That's not a superhero.
I mean, okay. I mean, only he didn't really, or just not necessarily a superhero, but just like the hero franchise, because he wasn't a superhero in that like the Suicide Squad. He was like because his character is like a bad character, but they put the bad characters in a good light.
Yeah.
You know?
Did you think that? So you like Suicide Squad?
I mean, the first one I enjoyed. I didn't see the second one, so I can't really judge it. But I enjoyed it. I didn't think he did too bad.
I don't think he plays a good superhero. I just don't.
I respect it. You know, he's only played 2 though.
It doesn't matter.
You know.
It's enough for me to judge it, isn't it?
If we're basing it off like a comic book type.
No,
of
I'm just
character.
like, yeah. I mean, yeah, he does. I don't think he plays a great superhero. That's all.
Respect. But to speak to the child part that you were speaking about, like as far as like the them taking children to I guess like abducting children and children going missing. Mm-hmm. Yesterday there was a fight, a boxing fight. Maybe you heard about it. People trending and maybe haven't. Mm-hmm. Ryan Garcia versus Devin Haney or whatever. And Ryan Garcia is recently someone who's been out in the open and speaking about him going to. He was saying like, "Yo, the Illuminati is real," and he's like the Spanish boxer, and his eyes in a sense has been opened, where he's exposing a lot of things that are happening in, like, I guess secret
Sports entertainment. Oh,
sports entertainment, but also what's happening in Hollywood, because he said he's been to. What's that place that Alex Jones snuck into? Like Bohemian Grove is the name of it.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Whew.
And so like Ryan Garcia, he spoke about like Bohemian Grove and how they're sacrificing children. He's seen it. And so recently he's someone that can be deemed quotations crazy. But if you actually listen to what he's saying, it kind of aligns to what people are talking about in Hollywood and how these people are, taking humans and sacrificing children. And it kind of aligns to a lot of the stuff that happens with Diddy. Uh-huh. And so after this fight, because, he's always this crisis king. He's like, he's kind of aligns with a lot of Christianity, like crisis king and Jesus Christ and all this stuff. And so I wanted to, I retweeted a lot of stuff so we can talk about it. And here's what Ryan Garcia sounded like before the fight. Here's what he was saying.
Jesus Christ, the King of Kings, Lord of Lords. Thank you, Jesus. 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 Thank you, Jesus.
This is before the fight.
Thank you, Jesus. Jesus is King, King of Kings, King of Kings. No, okay. Jesus is the one above all. Okay. How you guys doing? What do you guys want me to say? I've already said everything. I mean, what do you want me to do? I've already done it all. I've already said it all. I've done it all, and now I'm just ready to kick ass. I'm going there and just fuck this man up. You don't understand. I'm gonna fuck him up. You don't know what I've been training like. You don't know the vision I have. Now I'm on fire. I'm on fire. I'm on fire. I'll break this whole thing right now. That's how I'm firing. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm strong. I'm strong. And I'm louder than that whole team. They got like 5 people there. Look how loud. Woo! We couldn't hear you, bitch.
So this was before the fight.
A beautiful Christian there.
Right? Right? That's what I'm saying. Like, but this happened before the fight, and people are just like, man, I can't believe Devin Haney lost to someone like that. But Ryan Garcia, he whooped his ass, and he didn't make weight. The weight requirement.
Okay, so I heard something about that. Tell me, I don't understand.
The weight requirement was 140. You have to be 140 or a little bit under that, and he was 143. And so he didn't make weight, and so it was a title fight. So now he doesn't get the rights to that fight, and so.
What do you mean he doesn't get the rights to the?
He doesn't get the rights to even though he won that fight, he doesn't get the championship.
He doesn't get the title,
right?
So he was the challenger. Mm-hmm. Okay,
he was the challenger in this situation because Devin Haney, he's undefeated prior to this match, and then yesterday Devin Haney got his ass whooped, but. He was saying, Ryan Garcia, he was saying that he's like, man, I was last fight that he fought because he fought Tank Davis, and Tank Davis is a beast. He fought underweight and he was dehydrated, and he was like having like scars on his tongue or so because he wasn't fighting at a natural weight that he was at, and so it's just like, man. And he also chugged a beer, like after he found out he didn't make weight. He said, "Fuck it," he chugged the beer or whatever, and then people's like judging him, saying he's off his rocker, he's crazy and all this stuff. But then after he won, he said, hold on. Okay, I'll show you this and I'll show you another one. He did this one.
The truth. You guys hate on me because I'm pretty and shit. Man, that's fucked up. At the end of the day, I've been boxing my whole life, and all I do is love God and try to help the children, and you guys straight hate on me. You guys do not love the truth. You guys hate
Okay, that's the first one, then this one. So he says that he's the only one who's staying quiet about what's happening because he's mentioning that they're taking children and that they're sacrificing children and all this. And everyone's calling him crazy, but he is the only one who's speaking up about it. And especially since he came out with this victory. And also there's videos of his opponent, Devin Haney, taking pictures with Diddy. So it's kind of like, even though he's depicted as this wild, crazy person, if you listen to what he's saying at just the value without the narrative that's being painted about his personality, it kind of speaks to what you were talking about with the, like them taking children and, they're putting them in the food. And so do you think that there's some validity to what he's speaking about, just hearing it on its face value? Granted, I'm sure there's more information you probably need, but do you think there's some validity to what he's saying of talking about children and them being abducted and he's being the one that's being looked at crazy, and even though like everyone knows about it, but he's the only one speaking about it, like I think there's some truth to it, man.
I mean, I've done so much research on topics like that. Yeah, of course there's validity to it. Like whether he's seen it or not, I don't know, but what he's speaking on, I mean, bro, just look at the statistics. Look at how many children go missing and never get found. Where do you think they're all going? Like, there's no, people always want to label somebody crazy or whatever the case is. But it's like, facts are stubborn things. Like, there's X amount of children that go missing every year or whatever the case may be that are never recovered. Like, where are they going? And then on top of that, you have all of these famous people, Jeffrey Epstein and Diddy, and all these people getting caught smuggling children. You got the Pizzagate thing, you've got the Wayfair thing, you've got all of this evidence, all this smoke around children. Is it just everyone's just making it up? Like it's all fake. Like. It's bro, like
if there's smoke, there's fire.
The U.S. government went into another country. I don't remember the details of it, but they went to another country and ended up like extracting hundreds of children from this temple or something. They had like a hidden passage and whatever, and they ended up extracting all these children. Like, this happens all of the time. And, you hear celebrities hint at certain things, like Julia Roberts was talking about she gets penis facials. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get where do you get foreskin from?
Yeah.
Like you getting it from a grown man?
Even think about the foreskin part. Think about when you're a child, you have to get, what's that? When you're
circumcised.
Yeah, you get circumcised. Where does that skin go?
Right.
So,
yeah.
Like, circumcision isn't something. Circumcision, do you know if that's significant to America or if that happens in other countries?
It definitely happens in other countries, but I would probably say as a standard practice, statistically speaking, America probably does it more than anyone else. But it's not uncommon in other countries, but it's probably the most common here, though.
So do you think, okay, with the circumcision, it's obviously not something that you need. It's something that they say you should get or say that you need in order, I guess for your child's safety, in order for them to be free of illnesses or sicknesses. It decreases their chance of catching stuff. And so people do it. And that would align with, okay, what do they do with the skin of this child, this newborn, fresh child? Where do they put it? It would make sense if you're someone who's in this realm of questioning and challenging the ideas that are being put out there by, mainstream media, or not even just the media, but the science and the books that we've learned and the institutions that we are supposed to believe in. This would align with a lot of the misinformation that's being put out there, because if you don't, there's people who aren't circumcised who are perfectly fine, who live a life perfectly fine and perfectly, they're aligned with their natural body. And I wish I could be
Me too.
Get my skin layer back. You know what I mean? Because a lot of illnesses or issues that we probably currently have is because we don't have that layer of skin that's needed.
Sexually transmitted diseases probably spiked if they didn't exist before. Because I don't even know if they really existed before, but they probably spiked when we started regularly circumcising.
Wow. Yeah, because
animals don't have sexually transmitted diseases, but animals don't get circumcised.
Hey, man. So it's like we're unnaturally going towards the things that we aren't supposed to do, and then we get questioned, and then we have to question why we get all these illnesses and sicknesses. Is because even before we have an option to decide what we want to do, this layer of protection is being stripped from us. And not only are they circumcising us, they're injecting us. Think about that. Literally, audience, people out there, please think about this. Try to, for one moment, just strip the things that you've been taught. You are in a world where when you first come into it, they slice your penis. They slice the skin of your penis off and say this is for your protection. Then they inject you with medicine or these vaccines and these biotics that are supposed to be for the benefit of you. Now, in a normal thinking world, what sense does this make to slice a child's penis and to inject it with a vaccine? To me, that is so backwards. It is so backwards. And the funny thing is, we can say this and talk about this and bring this knowledge to someone out there who can just be a decent human being. But because they've been indoctrinated, because they've been taught a particular way, if you challenge that idea of what they believe, you get hate comments. You get people saying, oh, you're a kook. Oh, we can tell you're uneducated. There was someone in a recent TikTok video that we made that said, oh man, these guys are so uneducated. And I replied and I said, I am so happy. I am so happy to be uneducated.
Yeah, me too.
Like, you have no idea the excitement and the thrill that I get when someone out there says, I can tell these guys aren't educated. I'm just like, you motherfucking right, we ain't educated like y'all.
That's a badge of honor.
I take that with pride. Hell yeah, I don't care. You can think your way and think, oh, because I don't read or I don't study and I don't believe and I don't follow the exact same narrative that you follow, that I'm this stupid or idiot person. Cool, I'll take it. Because I am comfortable in my knowledge. I'm comfortable in my skin. I'm comfortable with the people that I relay this information with. Because we see the bigger scheme. We see this game. We see this. And so if I'm uneducated, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll take it. And I'm cool with that. And because I don't like the narrative, because you can see the way this world is moving. People have this hive mentality where they instantly, automatically follow, like, oh man, this big pharma, we trust in them, or we're going to follow this idea that, science is the absolute way and the way that we've been doing things is perfect. And like everyone out there, they go against the natural way. They go against the natural way instead of just thinking for themselves. Like if I'm uneducated, thank you. If I can think for myself, cool. If that makes me uneducated, cool. If I challenge a belief out there, when I can see something is obviously wrong. Something is obviously wrong with things that's happening in our society. It's obviously wrong, like obesity and all these sicknesses and illnesses. And then, you have people dyeing their hair and, wanting to be a race or wanting to be a gender that's not even them. To me, it's all backwards, man. So when you're uneducated, you learn so much more. You can challenge the beliefs that are out there that contradict a natural occurrence. Because there's so many things that I naturally just see and I question. I can't believe that people think this way. I literally can't believe some people think that slicing a child up at birth is okay.
Yeah.
And
for a long time, they didn't even give the baby anesthesia. So
they had to go through that pain.
Imagine being in the most safe, comforting, loving environment you could ever be in. Coming into this world, the first thing that happens is some white guy with plastic gloves, petroleum-based product gloves, and a mask pulls you out of this place, this comforting, warm environment. It's cold. There's bright lights, artificial lighting. There's a whole bunch of people you don't know, because people try to make it seem like babies are stupid. They don't know what's going on. A baby knows its mother, its father. It knows its family, right? So, but now you're at a hospital, all these people you don't know. And then within moments of that happening, you're stolen from your mother. You're cleaned up or whatever. You're taken into a room away from your family, anybody that you know, where you are strapped to a table. And now they do give them anesthesia. You're injected. Your penis is cut. They steal your soul. And then they give you back to the mother to finally be able to breastfeed, or to be comforted, or to whatever, to bond. It's insane. It is utterly insane. And people do this every day, and it's fine.
Like, people just never... It's like, this is your child. This is someone that you care for. This is one that came out of your womb. No animal does that. Like, just looking at nature, even sometimes when that natural instinct, like, I'm not a parent, but just caring for, children that are in my life, just seeing, I get a sense of wanting to protect them. But I can only imagine that feeling of being a parent and then them being ripped away from you. Like, because even when like cows or like dogs or animals, when they have their pups or their little cubs or whatever, when they get taken away from them, they start to go on attack mode and start defending them. Yeah. Even if you're trying to do something that's, peaceful, or it's, trying to help the little calf or whatever. It's a natural instinct for you to want to protect your child. And so this is what Candace spoke about how she's not going to have her child injected with all these, these illnesses and all these different vaccines to their child. And she's against that stuff because, man, this is an innocent child. They shouldn't be done this way. And so I always think, like, man, what was our parents thinking? Like, what were they taught to just go along with that? Like, was the information that we know about protecting children or about vaccines, was this something that was not prominent? Because our generation is always, has been, sliced open. But nowadays, people are being more aware of the things that they do to their children. So now I would say it's not as common, but it's more common than it was prior to have people go against, like, slicing up their children and injecting them with vaccines. So would you happen to know any information, or just based from, I guess, experience speaking with your parent or anyone, of why they decided to do I keep forgetting the word, the slicing open, the circumcise. Okay, the circumcision. Like, why is that happen in their days versus now?
It's fear mongering. I mean, it's propaganda. They basically tricked people into thinking that if you don't get yourself, so you could let's just say that some new disease pops up, and it's killing people. It's cancer, whatever. And then the government will come and say the reason why this disease is happening is because you weren't circumcised. Right? They'll say it much more elegantly. They'll make up a whole bunch of science and everything. And then people will be like, oh, shoot, we have to start getting circumcised. We got to stop this disease. They use fear-mongering tactics. That's how do you get people to inject themselves with a foreign agent vaccines? How do you do that? Fear-mongering. You tell people, hey, there's this disease going around, and the way to stop it is to take this shot. That's what they always do. It's always that way. It's never a natural conclusion that we come to as people. It's always a manipulation of facts. And usually the dis-ease that they use against us is something that they started anyway. And it might not even be as serious as they say. They will artificially inflate the numbers just like they did with COVID. They made it sound as if, X amount of people were dying from COVID when that just was not happening. It just wasn't the truth, And then history will record it as X amount of people died from COVID, and we'll read about it, 50 years from now and be like, man, that was crazy. But in reality, no, people are just dying because people die every day. You cannot get in a car accident and because you have claim it's a COVID death. That's absurd. But that's what was happening. But you think, okay, that's what's happening now. They've been doing that. They've always done that. They've always lied. Our history is so fractured, and it's basically a movie. It's made up. So that's how they do it. And the bigger agenda is population control. It obviously it's great for a business, for the pharmaceutical company. There's lots of reasons why they do that stuff.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things that happen that we should always question and that we should always challenge. But a lot of times people just have so much faith in outside entities, and just because they're unknowledgeable about something and someone says all these fancy words, they put on the suit, they are, they have these leadership roles. And so people look at them as figures that we should trust, when a lot of times you should always question those things. The last thing that we could discuss is about these conjoined twins. And these conjoined twins, they have recently, they have been married. And so what it is these conjoined twins, they're one body, they have two heads, and so they are two people, but they marry one other person. But the other girl that they're with is not in a relationship.
That's fucked up.
So I'm just like, how does this work? So the other half of the twin, they get married to this person. And so when they have an orgasm, they both have an orgasm. And I don't know how this works, bro.
Yeah, I don't either.
I don't know how this works. And like how do you I don't bro, I'm just like,
so one twin is married, the other twin isn't even dating right now.
Right.
But it's one body. So is one twin a virgin and the other one isn't?
But they share the same vagina.
Yeah, it's
they share the same vagina.
Who controls the body? That's my question.
They each control each side of the body.
But the vagina is split down the middle.
They both feel it.
So do they have their own heart?
Yeah.
So it's basically a fight, because it's like, I want to go to this party. I don't want to go. I want to stay home.
It's like, how does this work? I thought this was the most interesting thing, because their particular case, it's a rarity that they live past a particular point in life.
Yeah, they usually die pretty early.
Yeah, so they're said to die early. But now, like, if that other twin, if she wants to get her own husband, she'd have to share, they'd have to share the body.
Yeah, but one husband can be on one side of the bed with his wife, and the other husband can be on the other side with his wife.
But who is going to be fucking who?
I'm gonna tell you one thing. We getting it in. I tell you that.
You feel? It's just like, but. It's just like, I'm thinking a double toppy,
Right.
Because their heads are like right there.
Right, they're both next to
And if she's going down on her husband,
yeah.
What is she gonna close her eyes?
Yeah,
Like, what do you do?
She might as well participate, get the balls going or something.
In this situation, like, bro, like in this situation, you'd have to share. Like, come on, there has to be some type of discussion that's brought up. Like, hey, look, I'm in love with her. Y'all are twins. Y'all conjoined twins. So there has to be some type of, because it's just going to be weird.
What's weird, you could cheat. Like, she could cheat. She could fornicate with her twin's husband, because when the wife goes to sleep, the husband could just sleep with the other twin.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be fornicating. That would be cheating.
What she
That'd
said, while they're having sex, she reads a book. She reads a book while they're having sex.
That's cap.
That's
cap.
How do you read a book when you're getting fucked?
Pounded. You're getting pounded. Like, your vagina is currently getting pounded, and you're just.
It's like,
It's an interesting topic. It's look. My thing is this. If I wake up in the middle of the night and I'm horny and the twin is up, we're doing it. We're doing it. Like, we're doing it. I don't care if my wife's asleep or not.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Hey,
you know what I'm saying?
getting it in. You fucked the book.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
you don't need that book
You
right
need
now.
that book today.
You can focus on what's going on.
You feel me? I just think it's so weird, man. Like, it's more power to the couple, but it's just like, bro, if I was in that situation where the woman that I'm in love with, she's a conjoined twin, I would say, look, I'm going to need both of you. Mm-hmm. Simply because I would not be okay with my wife getting fucked by another dude simply because my wife wants her own man.
Yeah.
That's not happening, bro.
Yeah.
It's not happening. I can't do it. I'm just like, nah.
It's an interesting thing, and listen, here's the part that you probably haven't considered.
Uh-oh.
This woman, that's two women in one, was able to get married. Mm-hmm. But regular women.
Oh, regular women, they're not even
able to get married.
They're struggling to find a man.
They're getting married at a 25% rate. But this conjoined twin is able to find love. Like, that speaks volumes.
That does.
Speaks volumes.
Now, different than a conjoined twin, have you seen those women who are full-grown adults, but they look like teenagers or like little adolescent kids?
Yeah, I've seen that. I've also seen men like that too. I mean, they probably can get married pretty easy, to be honest.
But they are having issues.
They're gonna have issues
because they look like kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, us being who we are, if I seen an adult that's probably 34, 35 that looked like a teenager that's maybe 10 or 11, I would not be attracted to him.
Right.
I would not be attracted to him. And the funny thing is like, I don't care if they gave me an ID to convince me that they're of age.
Yeah.
So do you think that there's a certain level of creepiness that goes along with an adult man being attracted to an adult woman, but she has this illness where she looks like a kid, a child? That's a tricky situation, right?
That's a hard question to answer because people use this pedophile world too loosely. Mm-hmm. I think that similar to how you could talk to someone and be attracted to someone who's like not attractive, like someone who you might consider to be ugly, and still end up building a relationship with them. I think that you could also have that same situation with somebody like this. It's the thing is, most men aren't going to approach her, so it's gonna be a very unique situation for how that person gets approached. Or she's going to get approached by boys. Okay, think about it like this. Is it a problem if this grown adult, let's just say 21, who looks like a child, we'll just say a teenage, like a 14-year-old or 13-year-old, and then a boy in the realm, let's say 16 or whatever, 15, likes her, thinking that they're the same age, and then they start talking. Right? But then eventually a boy keeps growing up.
It becomes a man.
It becomes a man, and she still looks 13. Is she wrong for dating this boy in the first place? And then is it wrong if they continue to date after the fact? Because no grown man wants her because she looks like a teenager.
The only way I would say that is acceptable is if they grew up together. If they've known each other since they were like maybe the same age, they're childhood friends, maybe childhood sweethearts, and they grow up they grow up as they are. Mm-hmm. And then this girl, she has this illness, and this guy, he doesn't, and now they're still, they have that love, they have that affection in their emotions. They have that with one another. That's the only way that I could see it not being an issue. Mm-hmm. Because if I was to see you grown as hell, we're at a family function and you like, yo, this is my girl. Yeah. And she looked like she fresh out of like 4th grade. I'm like, yo, Chris, man, you my mans, but I'm gonna need to talk to you, man. Yeah. I'm gonna need to talk to you, man.
It's a problem. And I feel bad because that person deserves love. They deserve. So there was a show. I don't remember if the show, like this was like a regular theme, but it's like a blind date show. And they hooked this guy up with one of these women. Mm. And
one of the women who looked like a child.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't feel as though she didn't really present as a child to me. Like I could tell, by looking at her from the back or something, you might think she's a child, but then sitting down and talking to her, like she's a woman, she's there. Of course he was thrown off. I guess the show thought it'd be funny to do this. And I don't see anything wrong. I don't see anything wrong with that.
I don't necessarily see anything wrong with it. It's just, you can see something wrong with it, but mentally you can it's more like the optics of being out, with a child that looks like a child and you're in an adult.
It's going to be embarrassing. Mm-hmm. I've actually dated a lot of short girls. So when you take someone who's extremely tall and he dates short girls, it's kind of a similar vibe. Not exactly, but yeah, kind of similar. Like you could tell that these are adult women, but it just doesn't. We don't look good together. You know what I'm saying? And that was awkward. There was a girl I dated. I think she was 4'11".
That's a decent height. I'm okay. I'm okay. Well, for you, because you're fucking 6'6".
It's not a decent height. Like you're closer to legal midget than anything else.
Right.
And that was very uncomfortable for me. And the crazy thing about it is, these women, they're not going out their way to put heels on. It's like you could easily put your heels on and be 5'3", 5'4", and it would make this feel so much better. No, sneakers, flats, all the time, never heels. This is like whatever.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, I think it's fun.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's a challenge. It'll be challenging, but ultimately, if love is there, make love win.
Hey,
love wins in the end.
I'm not judging.
Love wins in the end.
I'm not judging.
But yeah, let us know your thoughts. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. And it was me and Chris James, animated Mel, Chris James. We here in this piece, animated Sage Thoughts. If y'all know about it, y'all know about it. So, y'all already know some of the stuff that we talking about. It ain't off brand. It ain't off brand, baby. But we appreciate y'all rocking out with us. We'll see you beautiful people next time. Y'all take care. Have a beautiful day. Peace and love. Bye-bye.